Who told you might pluck my rose?
Please, sir,
said the merchant in fear and terror for his life.
I promised my daughter to bring her home a rose, and forgot about it till the last moment. And then I saw your beautiful garden, and thought you would not miss a single rose. Or else I would have asked your permission.
Thieving is thieving. Whether it be a rose or a diamond, your life is forfeit,
said the beast. The merchant fell on his knees and begged for his life for the sake of his 3 daughters, who had none but him to support them.
My lord, I beseech you to forgive me. Indeed, I had no intention to offend in gathering a rose for one of my daughters, who desired me to bring her one,
said he.
You say you have daughters?
Replied the monster.
I will forgive you, on one condition, that one of them come willingly and suffer for you. Swear that if any of your daughters refuses to die in your stead, you will return within 3 months and place yourself at my disposal.
So the merchant swore. Taking his rose, he mounted his horse and rode home. As soon as he got into his house, his daughters came rushing round him, clapping their hands and showing their joy in every way. He gave the necklace to his eldest daughter, the gold chain to his second daughter, and then he gave the rose to his youngest, and as he gave it he sighed. "Oh, thank you, Father," they all cried. But the youngest said,
"Why did you sigh so deeply when you gave me my rose?"
Later I will tell you,
said the merchant. So for several days they lived happily together, though the merchant wandered about gloomy and sad, and nothing his daughters could do would cheer him up till at last, pressed by his youngest daughter, he related his fatal adventure. Immediately the 2 eldest set up lamentable outcries, blaming poor Beauty, and said all manner of ill-natured things to her. Beauty spoke.
"Since the monster will accept one of his daughter,"
said she,
"I will deliver myself up to all his fury. And I am very happy in thinking that my death will save my father's life, and be a proof of my tender love for him."
Beauty, I am charmed with your kind and generous offer, but I cannot let you do it. I am old and have not long to live, so will lose only a few years, at the most,
said the merchant.
"Indeed, Father, you shall not go to the palace without me. You cannot stop me from following you,"
said Beauty. Beauty insisted on setting out for the palace, and made the necessary preparations for herself, and her sisters were secretly delighted at the prospect of getting rid of her once and for all. So next day the merchant took Beauty behind him on his horse, as was the custom in those days, and rode off to the dwelling of the beast. When he got there and they alighted from his horse, the doors of the house opened, And what do you think they saw there? Nothing. So they went up the steps and went through the hall into the dining room. There they saw a table spread with all manner of beautiful glasses, and plates and dishes and napery, with plenty to eat upon it. So they waited and they waited, thinking that the owner of the house would appear, till at last the merchant said,
"Let's sit down, and see what happens then."
When they sat down, invisible hands passed them things to eat and to drink, and they ate and drank to their heart's content. And when they arose from the table, it arose too, and disappeared through the door, as if it were being carried by invisible servants. Suddenly the beast filled the doorway.
Is this your youngest daughter?
He boomed. And when he had said that it was, the beast said,
Is she willing to stay here with me?
Then he looked at Beauty, who said, in a trembling voice,
Yes, sir. Well, no harm shall befall you.
With that he led the merchant down to his horse, and said to him,
Honest man, go your ways tomorrow morning, but never think of coming here again.
Then the beast returned to Beauty and said to her,
This house with all that is therein is yours. If you desire anything, clap your hands and say the word, and it shall be brought to you.
And with that he made a sort of bow and went away. So Beauty lived on in the home of the beast, and was waited on by invisible servants, and had whatever she liked to eat and to drink, but she soon got tired of the solitude. Next day, when the beast came to her, though he looked so frightening, she had been so well treated that she had lost a great deal of her terror of him. So they spoke together about the garden, and the house and her father's business, and all manner of things, so that Beauty lost altogether her fear of the beast.
Beauty,
Said the beast,
if my presence is troublesome, I will end our conversation and leave you. For tell me, do not you think me very ugly?
It is true, for I cannot tell a lie. But I believe you are very good-natured.
said Beauty.
Yes, yes. My heart is good, but still I am a monster.
Said the beast.
Among mankind, there are many that deserve that name more than you. And I prefer you, just as you are, to those who under a human form, hide a treacherous, corrupt, and ungrateful heart.
Says Beauty. Beauty ate a hearty supper, and had almost conquered her dread of the monster, but she nearly fainted away when he said to her,
Beauty, will you be my wife?
It was some time before she dared answer, for she was afraid of making him angry, if she refused. At last, however, she said, trembling,
No, beast.
Immediately the poor monster sighed, and then hissed so frightfully that the whole palace echoed. But Beauty soon recovered her fright, for Beast said in a mournful voice,
Then farewell, Beauty.
And left the room. Beauty spent the next 3 months very contentedly in the palace. Seeing the Beast often had so accustomed her to his deformity, that, far from dreading the time of his visit, there was only one thing that gave Beauty any concern, which was that every night, before she went to bed, the monster always asked her if she would be his wife. One day she said to him,
Beast, you make me very uneasy. I wish I could consent to marry you. But I am too sincere to make you believe that will ever happen. I shall always esteem you as a friend. Please try to be satisfied with this.
I suppose I must, for, alas, I know too well my own misfortune. Though I ought to think myself happy that you will stay here, promise never to leave me,
said the Beast. Beauty blushed at these words.
I could indeed promise never to leave you, but I have so great a desire to see my father that I'm afraid I shall fret to death, if you refuse me that satisfaction,
answered she.